Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for the next in the Back to Basics fun fold cards. This series is just about how to take some basic tools, just your trimmer and your scoreboard, but how to add a little bit of a twist to your regular card. So the first card I showed you to make was this gatefold card. It's a really nice, simple, easy card. It was just 2 score lines. And today, exactly the same. There's just going to be 2 score lines, because today we're going to make a foldback card. Now the foldback card, I'm going to use this freshly squeezed kit by Knitwit Collections. You'll find link in description below. And if you are enjoying this series, please make sure that you join my Facebook group. Description below has the link, so you can join and you can then find more inspiration by the other crafters and other members of what they've done with these videos here as well. Just click the link, answer a couple of questions, and you'll be ready to go. So I said, freshly squeezed, and again, a nice, easy one to make. In fact, pretty much the same as the gatefold one we did first of all. The measurements are quite similar. It's just 2 score lines again. So we're going to cut our cardstock at 5 3/4. So I've put it into my cutter A4 length so I can get a second one out of it if I wanted to. And I'm going to cut it down to 8 inches. So this just means that it makes the measurements so much easier just by getting rid of that little 1/4 inch. So this is now my card base. So I'm going to add some score lines to it. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard. And this time, put the 8 inches on the top of the scoreboard. We're going to score at 2 and 4. So I told you this was going to be really easy cards to make. And that's the whole point of this series of cards, is nice, easy, quick make. So you can batch make, great for Christmas, or when you just need that last minute card, but you want something a little bit different. So we got our 2 and 4. I'll add the measurements in the description below as well. So this middle one, I'm going to fold over. So if we were making a normal card, there we go. And that's all I'm doing now is that top one, I'm going to fold it back on that score line. So there's my fold back. There we go. So I told you the first few cards were going to be really nice, gentle, easing into the series. And that's it for the card base. That's all you need. So I'm going to be using my digital kits here. The reason I like the digital kits is I can make everything to size ready for me, and then I'm good to go. But you could use any of your paper kits, your Graphic 45, your Stamperia, your Hunky Dories, anything like that, because that's all I'm going to do is give you the measurements of the paper. And my rule of thumb is whatever I'm covering, so say I'm covering this back piece, I just go down 1/4 inch in both directions. So this is a 5 3/4 by 4 inch panel. So this large panel here, I've trimmed it down to 5 1/2, which is 3/4, take away 1/4. And it was 4 inches across, so it's now 3 3/4. And as you can see, I got everything fitting on this one A4 page, so I'm really cost effective with my papers. So I'm just going to go quiet as I cut all these straight lines. So of course, if you're using a paper kit, you would just then do your trimmer, you would just cut it down. Now, a lovely little tip is when you're fussy cutting like this, if you take some Distress ink, which is a good match to your base card colour, and go around the edge, any white bits you've missed, you're sort of camouflaging. So if you've got some white showing, all of a sudden it's disappeared. So as I said, this is just now 1/4 inch smaller, 5 3/4 by 5. Sorry, 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And it'll just fit in place there. Just take my bone folder and iron it out. And then these panels are 2 inches, so I've made 2 panels here, 1 3/4 inches wide. And again, I'm just going to cut them out. So I'm doing everything on camera, not preparing ahead of time with these, so you can see how quick and easy they really are, but how they each have their own little twist to them. And again, that's all I'd have to do. Is I don't need to buy card bases. I'm just using my regular cardstock, and I just need to buy C6 envelopes. Even though they all look different, they all fit into the same envelope size. There we go. And again, I'm just inking the edge just to hide any bits where my fussy cutting wasn't as, well, not as tight as it could be then, shall we say. Here we go. And again, just glue them on. So I'll just take my glue around the edge and a little wiggle down the middle and glue it down. And again, around the edge and a wiggle down the middle. And just flatten it down then with my bone folder. So you can see now how it folds back, which is why I've called it the fold back. Some people call it the Z, but I've got a different one I use for my Z. And then it's just a case of making a topper to go with it. So I've got this square topper. It could be anything you want, whatever you've got in your collection that you're using. We're just going to cut it out. And again, take that black around the edge. It just hides any of your inaccuracies, shall we call them. And I'm going to cut a mat for it. So this time, instead of going down like I've been with the papers, I'm going to go up for my mat. So this is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, which means 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. So let's bring in my trimmer. Oh, I think 3 1/2 and 3 1/2. Again, around the edge, just wiggle down the middle. I think that's going to become my catchphrase for this series of cards. Why can't I get it centered? There we go. And my bone folder, so let's just move any scrap bits out of the way. Keep it nice and clear. And that's now going to go there. I'm just going to hide my drill spot there, like so. Now I've got a choice now. I can flip it over. So just like we did with the gatefold, we're going to just take the top, flip it to the bottom, and that'll give me a guide. So this is where the card joins. So as long as I put my adhesive to the left, I'm safe. So I can take my glue and draw a line just to the left of that and across. Alternatively, I could have put some 3D foam pads on there just to give it some lift. I'm going to keep it flat just for postage. Although, what I can do then is, if in your paper kit or whatever you've done, in my case, I've just printed 2 of these. If you've got 2 of the same, what you can do is just pick an element, cut it out, and we can start decoupaging some pieces up if you wanted to add some more detail. So I'm not going to go overboard. So let's just hide any of my poor cutting skills. And this time I will put some 3D foam pads on the back of this, providing I can find them, that is. Ah, here they are. So just spread them out. These are quite thick ones, actually. I'd probably prefer a thinner one, just again to reduce on postage costs if you're posting it. Just some smaller ones. Need to trim that a little bit smaller. There we go. And because I've just done a copy and paste, or if you've used 2 toppers which are the same, they're going to match on nicely, and just add a little bit of interest. And I can do the same now. I can use, actually we could do the flower and the leaf. Let's go for it. So by making up your own decoupage, you're not tied. You can just cut out whichever bits you want, leave whichever bits you want out. And just ink the edges. Also give that flower a little bit of shadow by doing this. And this time I need some very thin pads. I'm going to cut into 3. There we go. And another one of these long thin ones. Actually, it's a bit too long, so let's trim it off. And that should be okay for the leaf. Because if the leaf droops a bit, I don't mind, because it'll actually give a little bit of shape. So I'm just going to take the backing off. And there we go. So that then is the basis of your foldback card, which fits into a C6 envelope. So we've now got 2 cards in our collection, which is great to have in our back pocket when we need that last minute card, which I'm sure we all need sometimes. But also when you put it up on the mantelpiece, it does have a little bit of a little twist. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Comments really do help. I don't think people realize how much it helps a small channel like mine. So if you can just take a couple of seconds to give me a comment below. I love to read them and I try to respond. And as I said, join my Facebook group, details in the description below, a link, or just type paper crafting with Paul into the Facebook search and you will find my group there. So you can see what other people have done as well. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll have another card for you very soon. So for now, happy crafting. I'll see you all again very soon.